So I just had a look this morning and opened up this page on Box Office Mojo for the box office earnings for the first weekend for Spider-Man Brand New Day. And genuinely, my jaw hit the floor. I was not expecting this at all. This is staggeringly high. I didn't think that this was even still possible for a superhero movie at this stage. So let's look at this. Let's break this down. Spider-Man Brand New Day has opened in the United States, just the domestic opening, $355 million. $355 million opening weekend. What? And $572 million internationally. This is so much higher than the already high The Odyssey. This is way higher. The Odyssey opened to what, $123, $124 million domestically? This is 355 just domestically and 572 internationally for a combined total of almost $1 billion on the first weekend alone. $927 million thus far. How does this film not break $2 billion? This film is, I might imagine word of mouth is going to be strong going into weekend two, and that drop off is going to tell us everything. But as it stands, there is a very good chance this film will beat No Way Home. And No Way Home made nearly $2 billion. So I'm going to take a look here at this article from ScreenDaily.com. Spider-Man Brand New Day swings to stunning $927 million debut at global box office, second biggest opening of all time. And as the article says, the only film ever to have opened bigger than Brand New Day is fellow Marvel title Avengers Endgame, which launched with $1.22 billion worldwide in 2019. Again, there was massive anticipation for that film being the concluding part of a major cinematic event, the Infinity War cliffhanger, of course. So yeah, Brand New Day has done incredibly well. I mean, look, put it another way. Supergirl, which opened in late June, it opened to $37 million. I mean, it's almost, Spider-Man Brand New Day is almost 10 times higher. Okay, I really didn't see that coming. I mean, what? This film has just made all the bank. Look, I even think it's going to be difficult for Avengers Doomsday to match this. Incidentally, there is a new leak for Avengers Doomsday that has come out, a much more detailed one. I might talk about that in another video. That film is not looking straightforward. And we've talked about this from the previous leak. There's a lot of characters to juggle, an enormous amount of characters, way more than just the 27 that were sort of listed in the cast. And that has a lot of plot. There's a lot of things going on. There's a lot of moving parts and complexity to that story, whereas Brand New Day by comparison is relatively straightforward in its plot progression, making it a more accessible film. And I think for that reason, at the box office, this film is likely to have decent legs. It's likely to have good hold week to week. So $2 billion is very, very doable for Brand New Day. This is going to be the hit of the summer. I mean, this is obviously the biggest movie so far this year. The Odyssey is about to crack $1 billion. It's at $911 million worldwide at the moment. And it's still doing reasonably well daily and also weekend to weekend. But this is just significantly higher. This is another level again. And, you know, given where the box office has been this year, and I've talked about the successes of low-budget indie titles like, you know, Obsession and Backrooms, and we've juxtaposed that with some of the failures at the box office of big franchises like Star Wars, you know, Mandalorian and Grogu, and the likes of Supergirl, for example. And I'm just surprised that, at this stage, even with on demand and all the other distractions that people have at home streaming, that it's still possible, actually, for a Hollywood movie in a major franchise, which, let's be honest, this is the 4th Spider-Man movie. I'm surprised that it's just gotten bigger. The Tom Holland Spider-Man films in the MCU are making more and more money as they go along, which is a hell of an achievement. It's very impressive, very, very impressive numbers. Because even other franchises that were these enormous juggernauts, right, like Avatar, even they've declined in box office earnings movie to movie. So Avatar, back in 2009, the first film opened to $77 million domestically and went on to make $2.9 billion. And then The Way of Water opened to $134 million and brought in $2.3 billion. So that was a decline. Still a lot of money. And then the most recent film, which came out last year, Fire and Ash, that film opened to $89 million, but brought in $1.4 billion. That's still an enormous amount of money, but you can see a steady decline. But the Spider-Man films in the MCU are the opposite. They're actually growing from film to film in terms of box office earnings. So a very, very impressive achievement. So obviously there's going to be more. They have to greenlight more of these films. So we can definitely expect more Tom Holland MCU Spider-Man films. And maybe this is going to give Avengers Doomsday a bit of a bump in terms of momentum. Having said that, it's a lot of people do believe that the Spider-Man films sort of operate in the MCU a little bit outside of it as well. That's a Sony influence too. The Spider-Man films you could completely divorce them from the MCU entirely, and they would still probably make the same money. They just work independently of it. Incredible numbers, guys. It's a huge success. So yeah, and look, it also helps that it's a great film. It's a really great film. I think it's a fantastic Spider-Man film. I really enjoyed it. As I said, I've seen it twice. And despite all the distractions in the cinema and the second time I went to it, I can still very much recommend it. So yeah, there you go. That's Spider-Man Brand New Day. $927 million worldwide at the box office on its opening weekend. Staggering. Absolutely staggering. It's a huge win for the franchise. And the Spider-Man brand continues to be probably the strongest superhero brand right now, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, Superman didn't do the numbers in the DCU last year. So really, what's stronger? What other superhero would be able to pull in this amount of bank on an opening weekend? $355 million opening in the United States. Incredible. And the great thing is, that internationally, it was actually higher, 572. So huge win for Spider-Man Brand New Day. But there you go. Thank you very much for watching. This is a quick one for you today. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. Take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.